I'm Jane Velez Mitchell, and welcome to this pre-party for the upcoming February 6th Rancher Advocacy Program Summit. You can sign on. We want you to be a part of this really world-changing event where we gather vegan leaders, farmers, entrepreneurs from around the world to ask and answer the question, what can farmers do on their land to thrive without using animals? Now, in the intro to this live video, there is a link so that you can register for the summit. You can take part, you can join as an attendee, and you can ask questions as we really solve the most important issue of our time. My name is Jane Velez Mitchell. I am the founder of the JaneUnChained News Network, and I am so honored to be a part of this. Our network is a vegan network with more than 70 volunteer citizen journalists from around the world, bringing you the stories that the mainstream media is ignoring. For example, the impact of animal agriculture on climate change. A new white paper says it's the leading cause of climate change. Now, right out to my co-host, Renee King-Sonnen, founder of the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary and the RAP program. Renee?
Thank you so much, Jane. And I am so excited to be on the JaneUnChained News Network, sharing our second RAP Summit with all of you. Y'all, we have got a convergence of trailblazers, industry leaders, farmers, ranchers, veganic farmers, you name it. These folks are coming to the table with at JaneUnChained News with the RAP Summit to begin to help all of you understand what in the world we're going to do to transition farmers in the world. It's so important that we start having these conversations. This is a global movement to start transitioning farms. And I'm so excited that Rowdy Girl Sanctuary had a vegan change of heart when yours truly went vegan because I couldn't stand seeing the cows going to the sale barn anymore. You remember that red trailer story? Well, I could not stand it. And now RAP is the result of that. Let's roll the video. And while we're rolling the video, we will just let all of you know that you can go on to the website, rancheradvocacy.org/
animals and kill them.
And register.
I never did like taking my cows and dropping them off at the sale barn, but I did it because I figure, hey, we eat this, you know, might as well take responsibility for it.
Our story started landing in the laps of everyday ranchers and farmers, and they started relating to us. There was something that started to click in them.
Y'all have gotten it out of the back of your brain, and y'all got it up on the surface, and now you're practicing it. You're
walking the walk.
You're walking the walk.
The anger doesn't change them. The conversations change them. A rancher talking their language on national TV, they knew that they started pulling on their heartstrings. And so these taboo subjects that you never talk about when you're a rancher, like your feelings about the cows that you send to slaughter, like your feelings about the chickens that you send to slaughter. Because I've talked to ranchers, 8th generation cattle ranchers, that tell me, you know, our kids don't want to inherit the farm. They're going vegan and vegetarian. I've heard this over and over, and this is one of the big problems coming into our society.
So we were coordinating this with Davey's parents, and they're like, okay, well, there's a schedule in November for some of the cows to be picked up for auction.
Did you round them up?
No. Hell no. Yeah.
These kids that are coming up do not want to inherit the cruelty, period. We've got to help them. The Ranchers Advocacy Program is positioned to do that.
All right, this is so exciting. And y'all, we have got the most exciting panelists coming up for y'all, expert panelists, where we're going to have the critical conversations on how farmers that are wanting to transition can do that. Y'all, our lineup comes from all over the world. Brett Christopher is in Texas. Jeff Whaling with the National Hemp Association is in California. We have Lee Recht, Aleph Farms in Israel. Claire Smith, Beyond Animal. John Lewis, the badass vegan, Geraldine Stark, Reef Farm, she's in Spain. In fact, she's the one helping our farmers in transition. Jay and Katja Wild in the UK transition to oat milk. Laura Reese coming to us from Agricultural Fairness Alliance, and Peter Albrecht all the way from Sweden, a powerful organic farmer. Back to you, Jane.
Yes, and the reason we're all coming together is that we don't want to have these farmers and ranchers have to reinvent the wheel themselves, figure it all out on their own. We need collaboration so that we can make systemic change. And that's why I am so excited, because these farmers and ranchers are facing real challenges. I mean, first of all, you've got family and community pressure. As you just heard, the younger generations don't want to inherit the cruelty, but they do want to inherit the land. Sometimes that land comes with a lot of debt. You know, modern day farmers are really, in many cases, if not most cases, warehouse operators who are indentured servants to these overlords who are the so-called big farmers who've never set foot in a farm. They're living in Park Avenue in New York City, and they're billionaires. And so these farmers and ranchers want out, but they don't know how to make money doing something else. And that's why we are bringing all these folks together. And that is really the importance of this Rancher Advocacy Program Summit. Remember, you can sign up to be a part of it, to be part of this world-changing movement. The register link is in the intro to this video. Back to you, Renee.
Thank you, Jane. Powerful, powerful stuff. Yes, the challenges are immense. And that brings me to one of my most favorite people in the world, Brett. Brett Christoffel is the founder and CEO of All Y'all's Foods. This is a Texas plant-based protein snack company that makes the best vegan, non-GMO, organic jerky. He launched it in 2018, and at the same time, he contacted Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, wanting to be our corporate sponsor. We could not be more proud of the fact that Brett is going to come share with us. Back to you, Jane.
Thank you, Renee. And I am so excited that John Lewis, the badass vegan, is going to be joining our February 6th summit. He's an extraordinary individual, not just a public speaker and an entrepreneur, but he is producing and directing They're Trying to Kill Us, which is an extraordinary documentary. I've seen the trailer and I can't wait to see the whole thing about the connection between animal agriculture, meat and dairy industry, and racism, dietary racism, where he really connects the dots. Look, right now we're in the midst of a pandemic, which is disproportionately affecting people of color and people with underlying conditions. And when you feed people in food deserts a fast food diet, that is going to be a perfect storm of illness. You add in a pandemic, it's a tragedy. He is going to deconstruct all of that and really show how we can give consumers, particularly consumers of color, the power, take the power back with their spending dollars. They're trying to kill us. John Lewis, I am so excited that he is part of our February 6th summit. And once again, we'd like you to register for the summit. It's free. You just go to the link that's in the intro to this live video, register. It's happening February 6th. It's going to be a global summit. Back to you, Renee.
Oh, thank you so much, Jane. This makes me think of, how hard it is for cattle ranchers out there. So many of them are just like me and Tommy. They love their animals. They have to do what they have to do because they have to take care of their families. Like you stated earlier, they want to keep the land. I mean, what are you hearing, Jane, about some of the folks that you talk to? I mean, I know you've talked to me a bunch, but other farmers and their families that are wanting to transition?
Well, as a matter of fact, we've got a videotape that really lays it all out. Let's roll the videotape.
Nobody really wants to kill an animal, but everybody wants to eat one.
I began to see them for the sentient beings they are.
My wife, Renee, went vegan. I wasn't real happy about it.
I wanted him to get out of the business once and for all. We had a big fight. I said, if you take that red trailer up the road one more time, I'm going to follow it to the sale barn. I'm going to buy them all back with your credit card. And he was like, what? I said, I will, and I'll make you the laughingstock of this county.
I said, that's it. Game over. I'm selling the whole herd. I figured the divorce was on.
And I raised $36,000 in less than 4 months, and I bought my husband's cows. We had about 29 cows at the time, a few chickens and some horses, and now we've got over 100 animals.
That is a very inspiring story, Renee, and I know you've got some other ranchers there.
That's right. And I listened to this and I'm just like blown away by the fact that I guess it was about 5 years ago that I talked to Jay and Katja Wild. They had not transitioned their farm yet. They were actually talking about it. They still had their cows and they were having this heartbeat for the animals, and they contacted Rowdy Girl Sanctuary because our story had gone viral. And these folks are making now oat milk. So, with the imminent concerns that are going on around the food climate in our world and our economy, it's so important that farmers know what they need to do to transition. Thank God for folks like Jay and Katja Wild that had the heart for the animals, and now they have a heart for keeping their land and making oat milk with Refarmed. Back to you, Jay.
And I could tell you one of the things that I've heard that's very interesting is that these farmers and ranchers who are on the forefront and are transitioning out of animal agriculture, still keeping the best of their traditions and their land, but doing something else to make money, their neighbors are watching and listening because they're also trapped in the same industrialized system of cruelty and exploitation. We say that it's not just the animals who are being exploited, it's the so-called farmers who have been reduced to warehouse operators. It's the people who are on the lowest rung of the social order who have to get these jobs killing animals. So everybody's victimized by this. And of course, the planet is being victimized due to climate change and animal agriculture being such a huge, huge destructive force when it comes to climate change. Now, how are we going to solve it? So we're not going to just talk about the problem. We're promising you right now, sign up for the February 6th summit, the Rancher Advocacy Program Summit, and it's free. The link is right there in the intro to this live video. We want thousands of people to sign up. We can handle 1,000 people as attendees on Zoom, and then many, many thousands more are going to be watching on Facebook. But if you really want to be a part of it, sign up for the Zoom. So we are going to be talking to an extraordinary woman, Claire Smith. Now, she's the founder of Beyond Animal, and she's also the creator of the VEGN ETF. That's the VEGN Exchange Traded Fund, where basically she has a fund that focuses on cruelty-free companies, eliminates companies that are engaged in cruelty, meat, dairy, torture of animals in laboratory testing, and it's doing really well. VEGN ETF. I spoke to her and about all these issues, and I said, we've got to help these farmers. They can't have to reinvent the wheel. And she said, I think a good solution could be green bonds that are very big right now. Corporations are being really strongly encouraged to invest in green bonds. She's going to tell us about these green bonds and how that could fund the transformation. She's also going to talk about regional cooperatives. If farmers in the same area with the same land, geography, and temperature, weather conditions want to get out of animal agriculture, certainly it would make more sense for them to work together in a cooperative way, economies of scale, whatnot. She's going to break that down for us. So I think that is extremely exciting. Renee?
Thank you. Can't wait to hear all about Claire Smith. Another really compelling guest on this panel is Lee Recht. Lee Recht is the sustainability director, the head of sustainability for Aleph Farms, which is based in Israel. Aleph Farms does cultured meat, and several years ago, I was all about doing all the research I could about cultured meat. Being a former cattle rancher, it just occurred to me that, you know, I know that I would never want to eat it, but I would love to be able to give it to my cats. I don't know if my mother will ever go vegan. I pray that she does, but you know, it's coming. I mean, there's Aleph Farms, there's Memphis Meats, there's other, you know, companies that are coming out with cell-based meat. So whether we like it or not as a vegan community, it's coming. So we might as well start having a conversation to see how cultured meat can start making a real difference for farmers.
I want to just jump in for a second because I know it is controversial and I've had debates with people over it. And frankly, I'm not somebody who would ever touch it. I've been vegan for 24 years. And however, I see your point. You know, we have to accept life on life's terms. If I had a nickel for everybody who stared me in the face and said, I'm never going vegan. Well, you know, as Gene Bauer of Farm Sanctuary says, what's going to reduce the amount of animal suffering? So I personally, well, I wish it wasn't necessary, but I think we have to accept life on life's terms, and it is, and I think it's going to radically reduce animal suffering, Renee.
It is, and I am really excited to have this conversation. I think we need to do it. And it is a viable solution. I see it as a solution for farmers coming in the future. I really do. I think it's coming. So I'm excited to offer it as an option and to hear what comes down the pipe with all that. So anyway, I think it's time for us to, is it time for us to roll the video now?
Roll the video.
Roll it. And in the meantime, while the video is coming up, we want to ask you all to please go to
multi-generational cattle rancher, as most of you. We used to be cattle ranchers, and what we used to do as cattle ranchers is we used to send animals like this to market. Tommy's a multi-generational cattle rancher, as most of you know, and I asked him a question the other day. I said, you know, what is it about what we do now versus what we used to do? I said, how is it different, you know, to you? And he said, Renee, I don't want to talk about it. And you know, what I know about that is that I'm married to a man that loves animals, but he carries a lot of grief, you know, I think, and shame about what he did.
Well, now they're just my friends. I don't have to take them to the sale barn anymore, and that was the worst part of being a rancher, dropping them off at the sale barn. You got a check in the mail, but it just didn't feel good.
Even as a rancher, he loved animals. But you know, when it came time to send them to sale, you know, he had to put that aside and send animals to market, because that's what you do. The ranchers always say, well, you know, you got to get rid of your problems. And that's what, you know, Tommy listened to, and Tommy did, because that's what he was. Here at Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, we don't think like that anymore. These animals are not a problem to us. They're our family. They will live the rest of their lives here with us.
That is such an inspiring video, and there are ranchers and farmers all over the world enduring some of those same internal struggles, and we're here to tell them there's another way, and it's not a sacrifice, it's an adventure. Let's face it, raising animals is very difficult. And when you're raising, for example, 60,000 animals in one warehouse, obviously every fiber of your being is telling you there's something seriously wrong with that. You know that approximately 1.6 million farmed animals died in factory farming fires in 2020. Most recently, JaneUnChained covered a story of 250,000 chickens dying in 2 ginormous warehouses. They were egg-laying hens, but they were too young to even lay eggs, and they died in a giant, giant fire. Ask yourself, who on earth thinks that 60,000 animals should be living in a warehouse, never touching grass? we all know it's morally wrong. So do the farmers, and they want out. We are going to help them. And one way we're going to help them is by ending animal agriculture subsidies. A lot of these industries are just being propped up by Washington. Now, join on February 6th. You get to meet Laura Montoya Reese of the Agriculture Fairness Alliance. This is a political lobbying organization in the nation's capital, raising funds to hire lobbyists, and they have some already, but they want to get more, to go through the halls of the Capitol and meet with their Congress members and their senators and talk to them about why animal agriculture is the leading destructive force on the planet today, and what we can do to make it a less destructive force and transition to foods that are going to make people healthier, be less destructive to the planet, and less cruel to the animals. Obviously, our healthcare system is in a shambles, and part of it is that people are so darn sick. Prior to the pandemic, the leading killer was heart disease, and heart disease is directly tracked in almost all cases to high cholesterol, which comes from a heavy meat dairy diet. Right there, processed meat is cancer causing. So why is the US government subsidizing foods that are making Americans sick? That's why Laura Montoya Reese with the Agricultural Fairness Alliance is going to talk to us at the summit about strategies. Okay, Cory Booker, for example, the vegan senator from New Jersey, has proposed legislation to phase out the biggest and the worst of the factory farms, the concentrated animal feeding operations, by 2035. We need to do it tomorrow, but it is a good piece of legislation as a start. We know that Elizabeth Warren and when she was a senator from California, Kamala Harris, co-sponsored and endorsed that legislation. So where is that legislation going? Those are the kinds of things that we need lobbyists on Capitol Hill to address, because the other side has tons of lobbyists. Do you know if every single vegan just gave up their cup of joe in the morning, you know, can still have coffee, but I mean, going to a fancy coffee, 1 cup a month, if we all just gave that to the Agriculture Fairness Alliance to hire lobbyists, we could have more lobbyists in Congress than the entire meat, dairy, and pharmaceutical industries combined. That's why we need to talk about the vegonomy. And I get very passionate about it because I think it's so, so important. Back to you, Renee.
I'm passionate about it too. Thank you for elaborating. I am proud to be a board member of the Agriculture Fairness Alliance, and also just very honored that they reached out to us a couple of years ago to consult with us on that legislation they created called the At-Risk Farmer and Rancher Transition Act. They actually consulted with myself and one of our esteemed board members, Paul Berry, and that is what we did, and that legislation was created. So thank God we're going to also be bringing that other spoke in the wheel. It's so necessary to talk about this side of things. Vegans need to start supporting, lobbyists in Congress, or we're never going to make any headway.
And I want to say one other thing very quickly. They have just created a new Founders 50. So if you want to be part of history, as Renee is by being a founder, but if you want to be a donor Founder 50, which I recently signed up to be because I think it's so important, you can work with the Agriculture Fairness Alliance and go to the Agriculture Fairness Alliance's website and become part of history and become one of the key donors of the Founders 50. So you'll get updates from the lobbyists, straight up private updates on what they're doing, and you'll get to be part of the solution. Back to you, Renee.
Awesome work. Takes all of us. All right, so the next guest I want to speak about this evening is Geraldine Stark. Geraldine is also in Europe. She is in Spain. Her company is called Refarmed, and she is all about transforming dairy farmers and helping them transition to plant-based oat milk. And so what is so interesting about what Geraldine does, I've had at length conversations with her on Zoom. And you know, I had to get my mind wrapped around what she does. She doesn't actually teach the farmers to grow the crop. She wants to make things happen quickly. So what she does is she creates a network around the farmer, and she does all the legwork to find out what farmers are in that geographic region growing the kind of crops that this farmer could use to make their milk, whether it be oat milk, hemp milk, you know, whatever kind of almond milk, you know, hazelnut milk, whatever it is. She does all this work to get a team together so that she brings the raw materials to the farmer and teaches them how to make the milk. It's amazing. So we are going to be excited to meet Geraldine Stark with Refarm. Back to you, Jane.
Yes, and one of the main reasons why farmers have to transition out of animal agriculture is because they're trapped in a vicious cycle, because animal agriculture is a leading, and now a new white paper says the leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions, which is creating more severe weather. A lot of them, including Renee King Sonen's Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, are experiencing 500-year and 100-year storms on a yearly basis, and they're becoming climate change refugees. Let's talk a little bit and watch a video about that crisis. Roll the tape.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to go. Y'all be good in there. Watch the leg. Easy. We are getting them loaded up now. There went Cinnamon. When they first started tracking Hurricane Harvey, it was a Category 1. So I was thinking, no big deal.
There they are. Now to turn around and go get a bunch more.
Last June, we had our 50-year flood event. We had to evacuate all the animals then. When it was obvious it was going to increase, not decrease, we started making preparations.
All right, load number 2 is coming off.
We didn't know how it would turn out. We were just doing what we could in the moment.
Another round.
That's the worst I've ever seen it in my 20 years of living, so.
And then Sunday, who did you have on Sunday? Nobody.
Y'all, we need help here at the sanctuary. The water is rising. We need help at the fairgrounds as soon as possible, please. I'm feeling my weakness today. You know, I want to be able to walk outside and see my animals. This is not a 50-year or 500-year flood event. I think this is the new normal.
Oh my God, my baby.
Wow, here's somebody that actually gets it, that understands this and isn't afraid to say it in the middle of, you know, cattle country, no less.
It's great to rescue these animals, but until we start rescuing ranches, we're going to continue to have that outpouring of animals, individual animals that need to be saved.
I remember that moment like it was yesterday, Jane, and I just have to say that to see those babies again was like nothing I'd ever been through.
It's brutal. And you know, the thing that gets me like a punch to the stomach is that in these giant concentrated animal feeding operations where hundreds of thousands of animals are trapped, they leave them there to drown. Why? Because as this factory farming has become the norm, you know, 99% of all the animals that humans and Americans eat, particularly Americans, are coming out of these factory farms, these giant warehouses. They're not farms. I don't even like to use the word farm. They're warehouses. They're concentrated animal feeding operations. So as they developed, when there were big floods, at first they would let the animals out, and then there was a lot of aerial news video of pig carcasses and cow carcasses and chicken carcasses. They decided that was bad publicity. So let's leave them locked up inside to drown inside these warehouses. And you know what they call them? Live inventory. And they say, well, the insurance will cover it. And sometimes the US taxpayers are forced to subsidize the insurance and reimburse these so-called farmers who've never stepped foot in a farm. They're giant conglomerates. And these animals not only live tortured lives, but they are abandoned. It is sociopathic. It is.
I'm so glad I woke up.
Painful.
I'm so glad I woke up. I woke up, you know, Jane, and it really was like a spiritual awakening. It really was. I mean, it's like one day you see it and the next day you don't. It's out there. We can all change, you know, we can all change. I believe that. And we got some game changers. We got some game changers on this panel. Tell us about the next one.
Yes. Okay. Well, you know, when you think hemp, sometimes you think pot, but the truth is that hemp is an incredibly powerful, it's an ingredient, it's a material, it's many, many things. We are so delighted, honored, and really just thrilled to have Jeff Whaling, who is the head of the National Hemp Association. This man's a big deal, and he is going to be part of this, and he is going to talk to us about farmers transitioning out of animal agriculture and into growing hemp. Now, hemp is just this multifaceted product. I could tell you something, because hemp is sold a lot, if vegans know, at Veg Fests. And it's a common thing where you get a hemp wallet and a hemp belt and a hemp this and a hemp that. I have a hemp wallet from like 25 years ago, and it's still there working functionally. That's the incredible strength and durability of hemp. So we can really help the world by helping farmers transition out of animal agriculture, growing and selling pigs for slaughter or cows for slaughter or chickens for slaughter, and producing hemp, because you can do so many things with it. And additionally, the chicken coops, these ginormous, massive warehouses, are very similar physically to the way hemp is grown in warehouses, except nobody's tortured. And so the truth is that farmers are going to need a lot of education and help finding out, for example, what kind of lighting. I remember we had Mercy for Animals, the head of Mercy for Animals, Leah Garces, on our last RAP Summit, and she is helping a particular farmer transition to hemp farming. And he was talking about all the different lights he had to go through before he found the correct light to grow hemp indoors in a warehouse. So it used to be a chicken warehouse. It's now a hemp warehouse. Why make every single farmer go through that? Why not create systemic institutions that will allow large groups of farmers to make this transition? So we're super excited to have Jeffrey join us. It's really an honor. I can't wait to talk to him. And again, sign up, people, sign up, be part of this summit. Let's change the world. It takes a village. We're not going to be able to do it ourselves. You know, Renee and I and this incredible team, we've got Joanna Nicolatis. I hope I pronounced that right. Lisa Brown, Kwong. I forget your last name, but please let me know. We've got a team here and many other volunteers working to make this summit happen. We need your involvement. We need you to attend the summit, be part of it, ask questions, take notes. Then you can volunteer, you can get involved. And my dog is also saying, sign up, register now. Back to you, Renee.
Yes, y'all get registered. Just go to rancheradvocacy.org/summit and get registered. Y'all, over 500 people registered for the first summit. We had 18 countries represented. We're right now pushing 150 that are registered, and we know we're going to have a big crowd. And y'all, we are poised to handle 1,000 people if need be. So please get registered. Tell your friends, and just tell everybody to come join us for this historic moment in history. And the next person on our panel that I want to talk to y'all about is this guy right here, Peter Albrecht with Velez Banga Vegan Trädgård. He's from Sweden. I know I totally screwed that up with my Texas accent, but this guy, he's been vegan for 20 years. He's one of the founders and board members of the Swedish section of the Biocyclic Veganic Farming Organization based in Europe, and he is the real deal. I started noticing Peter on Instagram when I would see all this beautiful produce and dirt and this smiling face and these dirty hands and this rosy cheeks. And he just really stood out to me because he was so genuine, so real. And so he and I just started having a conversation back and forth because I'm into veganic farming too. You know, my husband has a veganic farm out there, and we just started talking. And next thing you know, one thing led to the other. And I said, hey, would you like to join us for the RAP Summit? And He said yes. And so we're going to be so thrilled to listen to his wisdom, his experience, because y'all, let's face it, organic is not vegan. I know, hey, I get it. We all use organic produce, but if we are going to truly start changing the industry the way we must change it, we've got to start demanding veganic produce, because organic simply just doesn't work.
You know, first of all, I want to point out a couple of things. We're getting so many comments on Facebook, and people are very excited about this summit. They want to point out that Connie Spence is the founder of the Vegan Justice League, and she works very closely with Laura Reese, who is one of the, or is the head of the Agriculture Fairness Alliance. So it's a team effort. Sure. Connie Spence and Laura Reese, and we love them both. But I have to tell you, being a city girl, I was born and raised in Midtown Manhattan, and now I'm in the country. No, I'm in LA, but it feels like the country when you're born in Midtown Manhattan. But in any case, I didn't know anything about dirt. It never occurred to me that there's veganic dirt. Well, in the last summit and the lead up, we were researching what can farmers and ranchers do, and we found out that veganic dirt is a hot commodity. So there's something that farmers can do right off the bat. Well, now I've started to look at dirt, and I was trying to get dirt for my cactuses and found out that, my gosh, there's animal parts in dirt. Who knew? So now I'm on a mission to get veganic dirt. So, you know, there's exactly. We're learning, Renee, and trading ideas. So it's dialectics, you know, to reach a higher understanding. And so we need everybody involved. As an attendee, you're not just sitting there, you're taking notes, you're making suggestions, you're getting involved in committees that we're going to create. Back to you.
Well, absolutely. You know, and thank God for Connie Spence. Let me just say that right off the bat. You know, nobody's trying to not believe me. We're not here to leave anybody out. And I hope one day Connie joins us for a conversation on the panel. And, you know, one of the things I want to do right now, y'all, is just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, particularly to our sponsors. The sponsors, the ones that make this possible. You know, Miyoko's is our platinum, our titanium sponsor. We have Veg Fund, who is so awesome, free from harm. V-Dog, our dogs do not, you know, ever do without that. Of course, the fabulous JaneUnChained News Network and Mercy for Animals, and who recently joined us is A Well-Fed World and Aleph Farms. And our corporate sponsor is Jerky Y'all, and our wonderful, wonderful folks that we met, Soaps for a Cause. So y'all, if you would like to sponsor the RAP Summit, any sponsorship dollars that come into the RAP Summit right now will be used all the way through 2022. In other words, your sponsorship brand will be on all of our Rowdy Girl Sanctuary and our Rancher Advocacy Program content. So we encourage you, if you believe in the work we're doing, sponsor us, you know, because the work we're doing, we're going to be giving away to the farmers, to the ranchers, to the industry leaders, to the, you know, we want to be able to bring all these people together to create the network we need so that farmers transition and the folks wanting to help them can do it. Back to you, Jane.
Yes, I'd like to say that I was corrected, and thank you. It's not dirt, it's soil. Again, like a city girl that I am, I said veganic dirt. It's veganic soil. Thank you for the gentleman who corrected me there on Facebook. So I think we're at the end of this. I just want to say that, you know, why it's important for you to attend, because we are going to not just yakety, yakety, yak. We're going to get ideas together. Then we're going to form committees and create these solutions. So the talking is important, but we're going to need an army of vegans and animal activists and environmentalists and people who care about saving the earth, saving the planet, humanitarians, to get together and then work on some of these issues. So it's not just the folks here who are coming up with ideas. This is a jumping off point. The summit is a jumping off point. And then everybody who's on the email list and who attended will be able to get information about how they can be a part of the solution. So if you're a researcher, one of the things we need are researchers to take all the information that's on the internet and collate it and put it on like the Rancher Advocacy Program website, so that we're gathering information. Every time we do a summit, all the information that's gathered is going to build, and we need people who know how to do that. So truly, attending is not just a passive event. It's a very active event. You can register now. It's in the comment section. It's in the intro to this live video. It's February 6th. It's a global summit. We have panelists from around the world, and it's very easy to register and then be part of it. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time zone you're on, we will give you that.
Noon.
What?
Noon Central Time. Noon Central Time. You can bring your vegan burger to the computer with you and have lunch with us. And I also just can't say enough how much we appreciate you, Jane, for JaneUnChained News, the network that you've created to magnify the animal rights causes into the world. You are tireless. Your work is amazing. And I just want to say thank you to all the media folks that you've created, you've cultivated. Your work does not go unnoticed. Thank you. And I also want to say this. Thank you to all you out there that stood beside us when we got our account hacked this week. I know all of you are all about it because we had thousands and thousands and thousands of people aware of this. And I just want to say thank you to all of you that helped us. We're back online. Rowdy Girl Sanctuary Instagram is back, and we're going to be bigger and better than before. So thank you. My heart is so full.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for all you do, Renee. We're going to change the world, but we need your help. So it's so easy. The link is right there in the comment section in the intro to this live video. Sign up for the February 6th summit. Put it in your calendar. It's going to be fun. We're going to have fresh ideas, new ideas, a global panel. We want you to be a part of it. So join us. Thank you.